right, this is a review for the Limo Home Q-Box carry-on compatible suitcase. Now, I got this suitcase for a very specific reason, which I will show you shortly, but that reason involves taking small kids through the airport. We have two boys, and they had just gotten out of the age where we didn't really need the stroller anymore, but the thought of lugging them through the Atlanta airport, which if you've never been there is crazy long, was a nightmare. And so I was looking for a suitcase that they could ride on. And I looked everywhere, I could not find anything. Finally, I came across this one, and it seemed like it was too good to be true. But I have it right here, and it was absolutely amazing. It is one of our favorite purchases that we've ever gotten for travel. So let me show you how it works. First off, it's a pretty standard carry-on suitcase, right? It fits all the carry-on requirements in terms of size and dimensions for any major airline. It has this retractable handle that is very robust, and it has this extra section here in the middle that is actually for children kind of to put their hands on. Where it gets unique is right here on the back side. You can pop these legs free, and it basically becomes a tripod. And so at this point, you can sit here, children can sit here, and they literally ride it around the airport. I will show you on the inside. It does take away a little bit from the volume of storage space, and that is because the back of it, with all of the structure that's built into the tripod, just gets in the way. And so it's not the largest from a storage space standpoint, but it's plenty big enough to carry, what you would put in a smallish size carry-on. So we put kind of the essentials for the boys. Anything that we don't want to get left behind, we put in there, and it still carries a decent amount. It's just not quite as big as a full-size carry-on, but what it loses in space, it more than makes up for with this. It is extremely rigid and robust. I thought when I saw this that it was going to be wobbly, and that if I made a wrong turn, it would tip over with the boys on top of it, but it is very well constructed. It's got the nice casters that swivel in all directions, and so that allows you to drive this thing truly extremely easily just wherever you want. So I'm going to show you what it looks like with the boys on top of this so you can see what it looks like with a kid, and then I'll come back here and kind of close up my thoughts. Hop on. All right, we're going to show them how we do it at the airport. You ready? All right. All right, now this one weighs about 50 pounds.
50?
About 50 pounds, about 4 feet tall. So he's pretty big. And this thing still handles it no problem whatsoever. Matter of fact, he rode it at the airport for a good little ways at the Atlanta airport not too long ago. It's super easy to turn. It feels really lightweight when it's in your hand. And yet it's really stable for them to ride. It's not wobbly. They don't, if you take a sharp turn, it doesn't tip over or anything like that. You can even kind of do this, right? And it just holds on its own. So it's a really, really solid build quality. It's really heavy duty. And it handles kids of all sizes really well.
Hey, Graham.
All right, one thing I didn't mention before, there is this removable cage, I'm gonna call it a cage, that actually can be removed, obviously, or can go on to this section. If you have a smaller kid or somebody you're worried about kind of falling off that can't really hold on themselves, you put this around and then it almost becomes like a seat belt that they sit in. If you don't need this, you just take it off. Don't bring it with you. The kids sit here, they put their feet on this little section, hold this, zoom in right through the airport. So I will tell you, we got more looks, more questions, more smiles from random strangers in the airport than I have ever seen. Everybody just thought this was the coolest thing ever. Honestly, the only problems we had were the boys were fighting over who was going to get to ride it from gate to gate. So if I had to do it again, I probably would just get two, one for each kid. But highly, highly recommend it. Definitely think if you've got young ones, you should give it a try.